let's start this message with a verse. Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it, Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. You can find this in verse number 35. What is all about? A lawyer comes and asks Jesus, tempting him, saying, Master, which is the great commandment in the law? The answer was this. And now today we are going to see about the 39th verse. And the second is like unto it, Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. This is the answer. This is one of the answers. Two answers he is giving. One of the commandments is this, that you should love your God with all your heart, mind and soul. The same way you have to love your neighbor. Now, the answer is perfect. It's right. But at the same time, the same is to be explained. You can find that, now we are going to see that explanation only in this message. Another lawyer comes to Jesus Christ. This we can find in Luke 10, 25 to 37. In Luke 10, 25 to 37. The lawyer again, another lawyer comes to Jesus Christ and asks Jesus, Who is my neighbor? Who is my neighbor? He is asking. Here, you love thy neighbor as much as you love thyself. That means yourself. Now the lawyer, another lawyer is asking Jesus Christ, Who is my neighbor? Who is my neighbor? See, now here Jesus Christ has to define, what is meant by neighbor. Who is my neighbor? He is asking, who is my neighbor? Now he has to explain. You can find in all the dictionaries, the meaning is different, but Jesus in the Bible is giving a very different meaning. That is what is going to be today's message. What is that? Immediately he is telling a story, that is parable. He is telling a story. The lawyer is asking Jesus Christ, who is his neighbor, who is my neighbor, or what is meant by neighbor. He is explaining by telling a story, by telling a parable. Parable is nothing but a story. He is explaining. A person was going from Jerusalem to Jericho. On the way, he was beaten and he was stripped of his dress, clothing, and he was left half naked and half dead. And he was lying on the side of the road. And there comes a Jewish priest is coming on the way. He sees that person and he is half dead, crying for help, but this Jewish priest is not attending to him and he goes his way. And another person is coming on the way. He is Levi. He sees the person and he is also not attending to the person. He goes his own way. And there comes a Samaritan. He sees the person and he goes and attends to the needs of the person. He puts oil on his wounds and he puts oil wherever it is required on his wounds all such. And he took him on the donkey and he puts him in an inn. And he cares for him and he pays for him. And then he was with him for a while, and he says to the owner of the inn that he would come back and pay of the full amount, or whatever amount is spent on him. Having spent all the amount, whichever he had, he gave to the man, owner of the inn, and he said, I will come back and give the money, whatever is spent on his behalf. Now, three persons are depicted over there, shown. One is a priest, Levi, and the Samaritan. Now, the lawyer is listening to this parable, and Jesus is answering this way, and he is asking the lawyer, who is the neighbor? You think? What do you think about the neighbor? Whom should be the neighbor for the person who was attacked. The lawyer is answering. Instead of Jesus answering to the question raised by the lawyer himself is now answering to the question raised by Jesus Christ. And the lawyer is telling Jesus that the person who showed mercy on the person who was along the roadside, half naked, naked and stripped of clothing, the person who showed mercy on him is his neighbor. That is Good Samaritan. He is the neighbor. That's why the Good Samaritan, the phrase, the term Good Samaritan came into being. Now we have started using it as a term, Good Samaritan, because of this one. Good Samaritan. Jesus immediately said to the lawyer, you go and do likewise. Go and do likewise. Go and do likewise. This is what is found in Luke 10:37. This is the ministry expected by Jesus Christ. He wants us to do that type of ministry. This is what is known as the giving ministry. Giving ministry. This is not a receiving ministry. This is a giving ministry. This is what is meant in the Bible. Everywhere you can see when Jesus Christ came, he didn't ask us to do the ministry by only preaching or through our words. It is through our action. And before that, just we have to know what is that. It is through showing equality. Jesus Christ was speaking about that, and which is being found in many of the Gospels or epistles who have written the New Testament. Acts 10:28, we can find one thing. There is no one who can be considered impure or unclean. No one is impure or unclean. So what does he mean? So your neighbor should consider. Neighbor is one who is good. Good Samaritan is the neighbor for the person who has been left half naked and dead. So the person who is showing mercy is the neighbor. You should be the neighbor. That is why Jesus Christ asked the lawyer to go and do likewise. So we have to be the neighbors. Neighbor for the person who is crying for help, screaming for help, and those people who are in need for help. So that is why Jesus says. And just before that, we have to know about the equality. And we have to consider our human beings who are in need of any help. This is a kind of help which is the most important of all help, because he is not treated unequal. He is not treated equal to the human beings. So Jesus says, nobody is unclean, nobody is impure, everybody is the same, everybody is to be treated equal. So what does he mean? He asks us not to consider the caste system. Caste must not be there. You should not consider your caste system. Everybody is equal. Everybody is the same. Everybody is one. And one from the same parents. That's why we have to consider everybody the same. Everybody is to be treated as we treat ourselves. So there is none to be unclean or impure. Everybody is same. That is what is found. And Galatians 3:28, you can find another thing. Those people were, even the women in those days were considered not equal to men. So Jesus said, Jesus changed everything. He said so many things and he changed everything, and the impact of Jesus Christ's preaching was on the followers of Christ, and they started writing. Even the disciples started writing about this one. And Galatians 3:28 says, there is no one unequal like women or men, or Greek or Jew, whoever he may be or she may be, everybody is equal in Christ Jesus. So there is no one to be unclean or impure. There is no one to be differentiated like women or men. Jew or free man, bondage man or slave man, or free man or bondage man, nothing like that. Everybody is the same. In those days, slaves were considered even even lower than the animals. They were not even treated equal to animals. So now Jesus Christ is giving that type of impact on his own disciples and followers, that they should treat even the slaves. In those days, slaves were considered not even equal to animals. And here it is said, you have to treat even the slaves like the free men. Women were not considered equal to men. But here it is said, you have to treat women also like everybody. Everybody is equal. Every human being is equal. So the equality is important for becoming a neighbor. When you become a neighbor, you should start treating everybody mercifully, knowingly that they were created by God. They were created by God the Father. They are the descendants of Adam and Eve. So we have to understand that this is what is meant by equality. Equality, when you become the neighbor for these people, you will start loving those people, and you will start having the mercy on those people. You will start having these type of things being cast away from your mind, and you will start loving those people by being a good Samaritan. You will start being a good Samaritan. You will start to be a good Samaritan. So good Samaritan has to love these people. He has to treat everybody equally. This is what. And then when you become a good Samaritan, that is why Jesus said, this is the ministry. God's go and do likewise. This is a saying given to the lawyer. It doesn't mean that it is only exclusively given to the lawyer. It is given to the Christians. It is given to all the people who do ministry. Those people who want to do the ministry have to follow this. Go and do likewise. Go and do likewise. That is found in Luke 10:37. What does it mean? You be a good Samaritan. What does it mean? You do a good ministry. What does it mean? You have to treat everybody equally. You should treat everybody equally, and taking away all your mentality, attitude found in the society, prevailing in the society. That is found in the society, and maybe it may be prevailing, but your thing is that you should treat everybody equal. There should not be any free man. There should not be any, there should not be any slave from the free man. There should not be any women being treated like, somebody not equal to men or something like that. No, everybody should be treated the same way, he said. And then the same way, he was talking about equal payments. Because payment, money is important. Here, he is speaking about standard wages. 2000 years back, he was speaking about standard wages. Jesus himself was telling this parable. You might have read that parable. This parable is found in Matthew 20, verses 1 to 16. That is a good parable. There was an owner of a vineyard. He just goes early in the morning to the street side, and he was searching for people to work in his vineyard. He finds certain people, and he just makes a contract with those people, saying that he would be paying this much amount for working in his vineyard, and he sends those people to the vineyard to work in the vineyard. They go and work there, and the same owner again goes about 9 o'clock in the morning, and he goes and finds certain people again loitering over there, and asks those people why they were loitering over there. They said that they didn't have any work. Nobody called them to work. So he called those people also, and they also were sent to the vineyard to work. And then in the noon he went there to the street, And again he found certain people wandering here and there, and he asked why. Why were they wandering? And they said that they didn't have any work, and they didn't have any work. So he sent those people also to the vineyard to work. Again, 3 o'clock afternoon he goes, and again 5 o'clock he goes. The same time, 5 times he goes to the street side, and he finds people, and he sends those people to work in his vineyard. This happens. And after certain time he comes to the vineyard, and he calls his manager and asks the manager to give everybody the wages from the last to the first. Last to the first, that's very important. Last to the first is the payment is given from the last to the first, not first to the last. This was said by Jesus Christ. So now here he wants to gives us some important message in this parable. This important message is we have to be knowledgeable in so many areas, in so many ways. We have to be knowledgeable to deal with the people, and this type of knowledge is very important because the Bible is giving much more importance for knowledge. Know the truth will set you free. This is what is said in John 5:38, and the same way Hosea 4:6 you will find knowledge. My people are getting destroyed because of lack of knowledge. So knowledge is important. So now here he explains how the knowledge is very important. Different kinds of knowledge which we are learning nowadays. 2000 years back, Jesus Christ was able to explain all these things very fantastically in a way, in such a way that nobody could question him. That way, psychologically, and giving importance for criminology, victimology, and whatever it is, good administration, legal, law, all such. How law? The person goes to the marketplace and he contracts with those people. He just enters into a contract and sends the people to work in his vineyard. So good way he is entering into those people for working in his vineyard. So good way of dealing with them legally. And again, you can find the criminology, how he is dealing with the criminology. Jesus is explaining this one. Criminology means those people should not, this is a branch of study. And nowadays they are having criminology, MA, MSc in criminology in universities all such. But in those days, it was explained by Jesus Christ in a fantastic way. Criminology, people should not become criminals. People were loitering, wandering there, here and there in the marketplace. This person goes and asks them why were they wandering. And they said they were wandering only because they have not any work to work, because nobody asked them to come to work in their field. So this person being good, being enough, being a person having money and the field, he is sending those persons to work in his vineyard. So he doesn't like other people to become criminals, so he gives them job to work, and they go. And if they don't have a job, what will they do? If they don't have a job, they want to eat. They have to eat. By hook or crook, they have to eat. What will they do? They will automatically start stealing. They have to live by. They have to eat for living. For living, they have to steal at least, because they don't have any work. So that was explained those people, we don't have any work. They said that they didn't have any work and they were sent to the vineyard to work. So thereby Jesus is showing that the person who sent them, that is the owner of the vineyard, was very good in criminology. And the victimology, this is also another branch of study found in all the universities nowadays. In those days, Jesus explained this one. See, you can find this one. Very fantastically he is explaining. He is giving the wages from the first to the last. First to the last. This is psychology. First to the last. Finding the psychology. And just to avoid any victimology or victims. Just to avoid making any victims over there. What will happen if the manager started giving wages from the first to the last? What would have happened? The first persons who came would be there, would stop over there, and they will start seeing those people, how much they were given, how much wages were given to those people. All will be happening. That's why it happens from the last to the first. Good administration is also found, because everybody is given the same wages, standard wages. Everybody is given the same wage. This is a standard wage. It should not have been done first to the last. If it had been done from the first to the last, what would have happened? The first, having received the amount or the wages, would wait, and they will start murmuring, and they start making some much ado about nothing. They will start, some type of slogans, and they will stop the wages being given to the last people. That is why he started with the last man to the first one. He had a good administration. He wanted nobody should become a victim. If it had been given from the first to the last, there would have been victims of not being paid. The last persons would not have been paid. They would have become the victims. So he stopped the victims. The same way, the parable has these type of things there, and he does make us understand that knowledge is important, and we have to be very good in administration. We have to be very psychologically well versed, and we should have a very good knowledge of all these things, all these branches of study or life. So he explains about this. He speaks about 5 branches of study, right? So here, what does he speak about? Equal payment or standard wages. So this is also to be done to the people who are our neighbors. Who is a neighbor? Neighbor is our own person. Neighbor is the person who loves his enemy. Who loves the people who are in need. Neighbor is one who is showing mercy on those people who are in need, and the neighbor is one who is giving the standard wages to all the people who have been working for them. This is what is being explained. Jesus is explaining in such a way that everybody should understand all these things, and our ministry is to be like that. You go and do likewise. That means you have to also do things like that. Our ministry must be like that. That is why Jesus said, "Go and do likewise." Go and do likewise. This is found in Luke 10:37. It doesn't mean that it was given for a lawyer. It was given for Christians, and even Indian law has adopted all those things, and they have made Good Samaritan law now. In 2015, there came a Good Samaritan law by Supreme Court of India. And now we have the law, and that was given from the Bible. Jesus said, this one, go and do likewise. And we have to follow that. And James 2:14-17, there are few verses which explain that this is more important. Our ministry must be doing all these things. Speaking, preaching, teaching, all part of our ministry, but that is not the main ministry. Main ministry is our action, faith and deeds. Which is important? Deeds. Then only we can establish our faith. Our faith will be established through our deeds. Our faith will be established through our deeds. Our deeds will not be established through our faith. Our faith will be established through our deeds. Tomorrow I don't have anything, but I do this one through our faith. This is an establishment of our faith. Faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. Which is dead? Faith is dead. Faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. So that is why James 2:14-17 says, if anybody is found to be without clothes, and if anybody is found to be without food, you just give first the food and the clothing. Then you do other ministry. So this is very important. This is foremost of all things. So that is why our ministry must be doing this. So we have to be the neighbor to all the people who are in need. neighbor is one who is showing mercy, one who is helping the people, one who is showing the faith in action. The action, without action, faith is dead. So our ministry must be this. It must be giving. It must not be receiving. That is what we have to understand today. God bless you.